Hello foodie friends, welcome back. We're going to be doing part 3 of our Biltmore Traditions dinner style. And if you know anything about the Edwardians, you know that formal dinners was the high point of their day, had multiple courses, and could last for hours. But with 2 swimming pools, a gymnasium, a bowling alley, riding stables, and hundreds of acres of gardens, I think they were fine. Also, when I was at the grocery store the other day, I went down the freezer aisle and I happened upon this. Now, I've never had a dessert at their restaurant, so I don't actually know how it would compare, but it looked really good and I just had to grab it to do a review. So, we'll be doing this after our dinner. Alright, so let's get cooking, because you know what they say, the sooner we cook, the sooner we can eat.
Alright, so here we have our dinner menu. And you can see they start with an appetizer and go all the way down to dessert. But we're just going to pick 2 recipes from this. The first one is going to be this roasted pork loin stuffed with blue cheese. And you can see the directions continue over on this side. And our second, oh yeah, and there's a really good picture. That looks awesome. And then our second recipe is going to be these caramelized onion and cheddar potatoes, and we'll pan down so you can see the whole recipe and pause if you want to follow along.
Alright, so I've got my pork tenderloin laid open. I went ahead and put the cornbread stuffing in this bowl, which I just made this according to the directions. And to that we're going to add the blue cheese, the figs, we got the sage, and then we're going to stuff the roast, close it. I've got some baker's twine that we're going to wrap around it, sprinkle it with some salt and pepper, put it in our roasting pan, roast it for 15 minutes. After that, we're going to melt some of these apricot preserves and then put it over and let it finish in the oven for another about 25 to 30 minutes. So let's get going. Roast in the oven, we're going to go ahead and get started on the caramelized onion and cheddar potatoes. I've got Mitch chopping the potatoes. He's putting them in this pot to boil, and while he does that, I'm going to chop up this onion and garlic, and I have a saucepan here of olive oil and butter. We're going to add this along with pepper, saute and caramelize those onions, and then add our rosemary.
Alright, so I've got my butter melted in the saucepan, and basically we're going to make kind of a roux first. So I'm going to put my flour in with the butter. We're going to whisk that together for about 1 minute, it said, or until cooked through. And then right here, you can see we've got our, ooh, that's a lot of steam. We've got our potatoes already boiled in this pot. They're nice and soft and ready. And we also got our caramelized onions ready, and we added our rosemary, and that is just waiting to get added. Now over here, I'm going to go ahead and start whisking in my cup of wine. And then we'll also put in our half and half. And we're going to keep this on the eye until it's nice and thick and bubbly.
So we are now ready to put our potato dish together. And according to the book, we actually kind of layer it like a lasagna. So we're going to put half of the potatoes. That looks about half, doesn't it? And on top of that, we're going to sprinkle some salt. And then we'll put half of our onion mixture. And I'm going to spread these around a little bit better. On top of that goes half of our cheese mixture. And then we got our sauce nice and thick and bubbly, so we'll put half of that on there. And then I'm going to finish the other half of this, and then we will put it into the oven and bake it for 1 hour.
Alright, we just pulled our potatoes out of the oven. You can see they look and smell absolutely delicious. And now Mitch is going to cut our roast, and we're going to take a look and see what it looks like on the inside. Oh my God, that looks so good. I'm gonna put it right here. Let's do one more. And we're gonna plate the rest of this up, and we're gonna give it a taste test.
Alright, so here we have it. We've got everything plated up, including our blueberry tort that we're going to try. And, oh wait, you don't have a fork.
Yep.
Well, do you want to use this one?
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Alright, let's try it. You want to do the tenderloin first?
Alright, let's do this.
Alright. It's really tender. Oh my God. That is awesome.
Yeah, definitely really good.
That is so good.
I was worried about the apricot.
Oh, I was a little bit worried about the blue cheese because I'm not like a fan of blue cheese.
Yeah, that too.
It doesn't matter. The blue cheese adds
It's
a
all
wonderful flavor to this.
Tied together so well in like a mix of...
And it's so tender.
That's good.
That's perfection, really.
This is a glorious eating experience.
It really is.
Yeah,
and
that's really good.
This would be so good for a family dinner.
Oh yeah.
Like a
huge
Thanksgiving.
Piece. It'll probably take us a week to eat that.
Heck yeah, but like if you have people, family, bless you. If you have people coming over, for Christmas or Thanksgiving or something like that, if you do like a Christmas Eve dinner and then a Christmas Day dinner, some people do 2 dinners. Oh, yeah. A family reunion. I mean, wow, that would be awesome. Or Easter. An Easter dinner. Oh, see, I'm just like, I'm coming up with excuses to make this again. So,
well,
anytime we have any kind of get together, we'll just make this.
Or anytime ever, we'll just eat on it for a week.
Yeah.
All right.
And this I'm really excited for too because I love cheesy potatoes.
And this smell of this in the oven, baking.
It smells like there's bacon in it, but there isn't. It's just the smoked cheddar.
Let's see.
Okay, but make sure you blow on it because we just pulled it out of the oven, so it could be really hot.
Okay.
Is it hot?
I mean, it's warm, but...
Oh, that's good too.
That is really good.
That is really good.
That is really good.
The smoked cheddar.
Yeah.
That really adds a lot
definitely.
to it. Here we are taking it.
No, we're like eating
one
it again.
bite isn't enough.
No.
We gotta get two. That's the perfect accompaniment for that pork loin.
Yeah, that works. They work
really
together really well.
You can taste the caramelized onions.
Yeah, but it's not strong.
No, it's not overpowering.
No.
It's perfect.
It's a really nice, kind of smooth mix of flavors.
And you can tell it's wonderful because we keep going back for like several bites. Like, what is this, our third bite now?
Yeah, yeah. No, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so.
This is.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think this might be the best chapter.
Yeah, I like this better than any of the other Biltmore.
Yeah, the mountain strata was really good.
Yeah.
The breakfast dish that we made, that was excellent. But this, there's something very savory and comforting about this.
Yeah.
I love it.
I could sit and eat on this for 2 hours.
Yeah,
and
seriously.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I would be fine.
In fact, I might.
So, and now, just one quick thing about last week with part 2.
Yeah.
We did, remember, we said that the mustard was a little bit too strong and that kind of thing. The next day, I think the mustard had actually calmed down quite a bit.
Yeah.
And
it was still a little bit strong.
Yeah, I would still cut it down on it, but it wasn't as overpowering.
It wasn't nearly as bad as it was that day.
Yeah. And ironically, later that day we wanted kind of like a little snack. And so we thought, oh, well, we'll put this, chicken salad on crackers and eat it, but we didn't have any crackers. And the only thing we had was Frito scoops. It was wonderful, wasn't it?
I think it was better there than it was on bread.
It was better
really
with the
good.
Frito scoops than it was on bread. I mean, as crazy as that sounds, but somehow the Fritos really balanced out the flavor of that
really
chicken
good.
salad. And then the next day we did actually get some like butter. I don't know what you call it, like little butter crackers.
It's like a club cracker.
Yeah, that's it, a club cracker. We did use it with that, and it was really good too.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it with that.
Oh yeah, it was really good.
As for the cookie, the next day they had softened a little bit,
and they were better. They didn't powder and break apart quite as bad after a day of sitting on the counter. Basically.
So that might be, if you do make that recipe, you might make it a day ahead of time, let it sit overnight, and the next day I think it would be fine. I would still pipe them smaller, but I think
they were better the next day. So I would go, instead of the 3 that I gave it last week, I would go up to a 4, 3.5 maybe.
Yeah, I would say about 3.5 to 4.
3.5 to 4.
Because it's a little bit of work that you have to wait.
Yeah, it was a lot of work, and I would still cut down on the mustard a little bit. I would still pipe them smaller.
Yeah.
But the chocolate topping wasn't bad the next day. You'd suggested going to icing. Icing would be fine, but there was nothing wrong with the chocolate the next day.
That's true. I mean, without the cookie crumbling as bad as it did the chocolate.
Yeah, it really wasn't as much of a problem either. So I would at least go up to 3.5.
Yeah.
I would do it a little different if we did it again, but I wouldn't be totally against doing it again.
So I wouldn't, and and obviously we didn't try, anything else in that chapter. So, we can't speak about the rest of the recipes, but I'm sure, those are fine too. But now we have our frozen, well, I let it thaw, but our frozen blueberry tort that I got from my supermarket yesterday. And let's give that a try. That looks really good. It smells good. It smells like blueberries. Oh. That's wonderful.
It's like a...
That is so good. It's like a blueberry muffin, but with cheesecake added to it.
That's really good.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. It's like a blueberry muffin.
Or like a blueberry crumble.
Yeah.
With cheesecake in there.
Yeah. So if you want a little taste of Biltmore, I would really recommend these. And it wasn't expensive. It was $10, but you get, a large
dessert.
Yeah, it's a large dessert. And I mean, it's got a lot to it. It's got a lot of blueberries in there. It's got a lot of mascarpone cheese, and the strudel on top is nice and thick and really good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they had 2 other flavors too to choose from. So I would recommend, if you had make these 2 dishes and make this for like a family dinner or something. Oh, perfect.
Your family will never love you less.
Yeah, I mean, that would be perfect. Absolutely perfect. So, overall, what do we give Biltmore Traditions? Now, you can't count that because, you know, I bought it.
I would say overall, the only reason I wouldn't give it a full 5 is because I think most of the recipes were a bit more involved than what you could do on, like, say, a daily basis.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about a 4.5.
I was thinking about a 4, just because of the amount of effort that some of the recipes take. Not that they're not worth it. I mean,
they're totally worth it.
The flavor you get out of this stuff is amazing. Yeah. Even the original breakfast one that we had.
Oh yeah, that was great.
I'm not going to fix that in the morning because I don't do anything before noon.
Right.
But, as a general rule. But, if you fixed it the day beforehand, you know, to take the time to do it in the afternoon or something and then have it for breakfast.
I think I'm going to go 4.5. Mostly because the dishes were excellent. There was a few tweaks I would do to the, you know, the tea chapter, but also if you just love the Biltmore house, if you've been there or if you want to go there, this book is an awesome repository of stories about the Vanderbilt family, the house itself, how it was built. And one thing that I really enjoy is that they have personal stories of the family, like little cute stories about how, you know, they went on picnics, what they would do on those picnics, kind of how they spent their day, and also wonderful pictures. There's a lot of pictures of the house, the grounds, the gardens, and the family themselves. Also, I looked at Biltmore.com. And you can go to their shop section on their website and you can buy this book for, I believe the last time I looked it was $19.50 to buy it, which is about what I paid at the actual Biltmore when I went there. Yeah, at the gift shop. So you can order this book and have it sent to you, or I think it was also available on Amazon. I don't think it was any cheaper though, so you might want to check on Biltmore first. But yeah, definitely, if you love Edwardian and Victorian history, this cookbook is a keeper.
Really good food.
Yeah, it's a keeper. So, alright, I think that's it. We're good. Yeah, we're good. And next week, I'm going to have kind of a little bit of a different video. We're going to do a review of a little restaurant that we have had here in Greenville, Tennessee since 1946. And I show you inside, show you some of the food. It's going to be really fun. So make sure and stay tuned for that. And click the like button if you like this video. Subscribe if you're not. And we are going to keep eating.
Oh yeah.
Alright, so thank you for watching, guys. See you next time. Bye.